Hi everyone, I'm AboPP, and in this video I'll be continuing my series of trying to do a hardcore monologue of Pokemon FireRed with each type in the game. I've already completed this for Poison, Flying and Water types, and those videos are already on the channel, so do check them out. For this video, I'll be taking on this challenge with normal types only, a divisive type due to its, normalness. However, normal types are usually quite versatile, so I don't think this should be as difficult as the other challenges. As a reminder, in a Nuzlocke, if a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead and must be put in my PC or released. Additionally, since this is a hardcore Nuzlocke, I cannot use items in battle or overlevel past the next gym leader's highest level Pokemon. Oh, and to make this more difficult, I banned Snorlax. One last public service announcement. This was the last game I streamed before upgrading my computer, so apologies for any lags in the game footage or the Pokemon sprites in my layout. Let's get on to attempt 1. My starter of the run is a Rattata called Apple, and thankfully she has guts, which makes her so much better than if she had run away. I get 2 more encounters in Banana the Pidgey and Cucumber the Spearow. The first gym leader is Brock, who you'd assume would be a roadblock. I lead with the pre-poisoned Apple, very close to level 15, and switch to Banana on turn 1. I can now use a bunch of sand attacks and whittle away at Geodude, who eventually takes out Banana. Cucumber can come in to take out the Geodude with Fury attack. Onyx is next, so I start using Leer until Cucumber falls. I send an Apple who hits 2 Hyper Fangs and a Quick Attack for a first try win at Brock. Wow, that wasn't the roadblock that I thought it would be. Winning the first badge means that I can get a couple of more encounters. First is Tate the Jigglypuff and then Egg the Clefairy, who evolves into Clefable. Apple also evolves into Raticate. The next major fight is against Misty, who is usually very lucky against me. I lead with Egg, who does much higher than expected damage on Staryu with Mega Punch. I then miss Mega Punch, and since Staryu used their second Harden, I switch to Mega Kick, which unfortunately doesn't get the kill. Staryu then uses Water Pulse, which gets the 20% confusion chance, and then Egg hits himself 3 times in a row in confusion. Told you Misty is always lucky. Tate can come in and survive on 4 HP before taking Staryu out. I have to let him go against the Starmie though to allow for a safe switch into Apple. Apple gets hit with a nasty Water Pulse, which of course gets the confusion, but thankfully hits through it for great damage with Hyper Fang. A Quick Attack also thankfully hits and Starmie falls, winning me the second badge, but I've already had 3 deaths, so this is a poor start. A couple of new encounters now, a Meowth called Fig and Chiding the Farfetch'd, who seems to always have an adamant nature in this game, which is pretty cool. Third gym time, as I face Surge, the war veteran who has questionable views on Pokemon, and a pre-poisoned Apple sweeps through the entire gym with 3 Hyper Fangs. My next encounter is an EV called Grapes. This does mean that I can't get my Porygon encounter due to both EV and Porygon being available in the same city, but that's okay. I also catch a Doduo called Hackberry. Time for Erika. I lead with Chiding against her Victory Bell, but Fly doesn't get the one shot as Chiding gets paralyzed. He then stays fully paralyzed twice in a row as Victory Bell brings him down to critical hit range. I use Grapes to use Sand Attack a couple of times, then switch to Egg, who eventually takes the Victory Bell down with Mega Punches and Kicks, while dodging a few Stun Spores. For Tangela, I switch to Hackberry, who can use Fly and Tri Attack to take her out, but does get poisoned in the process. For Wildbloom, I sacrifice Grapes. Apple can come in and Hyper Fang does enough for a 3-shot, but paralysis means Guts is activated, so I start going for quick attacks and end up winning with Apple left on 6 HP while not getting paralyzed even once. That was topsy-turvy in terms of luck, but I still ended up with 1 death. Chiding sweeps through the first Giovanni fight, so next up is my Safari Zone encounter Kangaskhan, who is the most important Pokemon for this run because, as I mentioned, Snorlax is banned and I can only catch 1 of Kangaskhan or Tauros because they're found in the same location as well. For Koga, Egg is enough and can use a bunch of Psychics to win the fight with no issues. Seriously Koga, how are you so bad? You've literally never caused issues in the 4 monologues until now, and I don't think you ever will. In fact, I'll call it. I'm never wiping to Koga during my monologues for Pokemon FireRed. Next up is the challenging Silph Core rival fight. I've skipped these until now because they've been very easy, but for this one, I'm hoping to set up a sweep with Chiding as I did during my flying only run. However, I get completely outplayed as a +2 attack Fly doesn't kill. I forget about Quick Attack and Chiding falls to Pidgeot. I'm being incredibly reckless, and sooner or later it will catch up to me. Anyway, Kangaskhan the Kangaskhan can take out Pidgeot. Mark the Lickitung, a Pokemon that I've genuinely never cared about outside the anime, can be used against the Gyarados because he knows Thunderbolt. Is Lickitung the most forgetful Generation 1 Pokemon? I think so, and that's justified because it's just pretty bad. It's basically a weaker Kangaskhan that can learn Thunderbolt. The rest of the battle is a breeze. The next Giovanni fight is easy, so I'll skip to Sabrina, and Hackberry can one-shot Kadabra, Mr. Mime and Venomoth, and two-shot Alakazam for an easy win. My last encounter is a Ditto, but they won't really be used unless I have less than 6 Pokemon remaining. They do want you to like and subscribe this video if you're enjoying though. Blaine is next. Mark leads to one-shot Growlithe and Ponyta with Surfs, but takes a nasty Fire Blast in the process. Rapidash isn't one-shot with Surf and Mark is dead to a crit here, so I switch to Kangaskhan, who can use Fake Out to take him out. However, a Surf from Kangaskhan does very little to Arcanine, who deals a massive amount of damage with Fire Blast, which would have definitely killed with a crit. I did not expect that at all and don't really have any answers to Blaine. Fig switches in to be potentially sacked but dodges Fire Blast. A Dig does decent damage, but Fire Blast hits to bring Fig in range for basically anything to kill. Thankfully, Fig gets rid of all of Arcanine's Fire Blast PP before falling. I use Surf a couple of times as Blaine heals a couple of times, and then for some reason I stay in despite it being obvious that Takedown will get the kill here, and Kangaskhan goes down. I have no idea why I did that, but I do know that my Kangaskhan probably had awful IVs. Hackberry can take Arcanine out, but I've lost a certain Elite Four Mon due to my recklessness. Surely Giovanni should go better, right? Nope. Mark falls to a critical hit Earthquake from Nidoking. Well, that's pretty much the end of the run, but I play on to see how far I can get. I do only have 4 Pokemon left, but I can beat Giovanni because of how good Egg is, and by leveling up as close to the Elite Four level cap as possible, I can barely beat the final rival fight without any further deaths. But the Elite Four is going to be very difficult. I'm just going to try to go as far as I can here. Lorelei time, and I lead with Egg, who will be employing a Thunderbolt plus Toxic Stall strategy. Thunderbolt can two-shot her lead Dugong and one-shot Cloyster, who only went for Hail, which means leftover recovery is offset for 5 turns. Slowbro is next, and I forget about Safeguard being up, so waste a turn going for Toxic, and then take massive damage from Surf. After stalling with Protect and recovering to the point that Hail and Safeguard are no longer active, I go for Thunderbolts as Slowbro just uses Amnesia a few times before Lorelei uses a full restore and I use Toxic. I can then stall her out and Egg has taken out 3 Pokemon. Lapras does great damage with Ice Beams and Surfs, but I managed to hit a Toxic without getting frozen or crit. A Confuse Ray further causes issues, but since I don't have much to lose, I stay in and eventually Lapras gets the freeze on the turn before she falls, leaving Egg open for Jinx to get a kill. So I switch to Apple, who thankfully doesn't get crit, and a return is enough for the one shot and Lorelei is beaten, completely deathless. However, it's only going to get tougher from here. For the first time ever, Bruno is going to be a massive challenge. I lead with Apple, who with the Hell Never Melt Ice and some special attack EVs can one-shot the Onix with Ice Beam, and the crit was not needed there. For Hitmonchan, I switch in Hackberry, who takes a nasty Sky Uppercut, but a Drill Peck is enough to one-shot. Against Machamp though, I need to hope that Drill Peck one-shots, but it isn't even close to doing so, and Hackberry falls. I can send an Apple, who can use Return to take out Machamp and Hitmonlee, and Egg takes out his final Onix. Whatever little hope I had left for this run is now extinguished though, as without Hackberry I can't beat Agatha. I still try though. An Apple leads to one-shot her Gengar with Shadow Ball. Golbat can't be one-shot with Return and an Air Cutter does a lot. A full restore means Apple takes more poison damage before Golbat falls. Arbok is next, so I switch to Jackfruit for a sacrifice. Egg comes in, but my best move is Ice Beam because I couldn't keep Psychic. Eventually, Egg falls. Apple can take out Arbok and the second Gengar, but falls to poison damage as Agatha sends out Haunter as attempt 1 ends to the Elite Four, but we knew that was coming. I decide to take a small break here and come back a few days later with the goal of finishing the run in one stream, now that I know that I need to plan better for Blaine and Giovanni. The next few attempts are resets, either due to Rattata not getting the ability cuts a few times, or Pidgey or Spearow falling before Brock. So, let's skip straight ahead to attempt 8. For the Brock fight, my strategy is a bit different as I'm not settling for a double sacrifice this time. Elaine the Pidgey can sand attack the Geodude, and then eventually, Kramer the Spearow can use Fury attacks to take him out, which do 1 damage per hit regardless of the number of defense curls used by Geodude. With some luck, Kramer takes out Geodude and Onix comes in. I start going for Growls, but because Onix went for Bind, I can't switch out, and eventually Kramer falls to Rock Tomb. Susan the Rattata can do decent damage with Hyper Fang, and since a Rock Tomb means that she's slower, Onix will now go for Tackle and I switch to Elaine, who is slower anyway, so Onix is not likely to use Rock Tomb often here. She can use 6 sand attacks again and Onix just doesn't end up hitting her much, so a lot of gusts take out the monster snake and I win the first patch with 1 less death than attempt 1. I know that relying on sand attack isn't the best strategy and probably not very entertaining for a viewer, but it's honestly the best way I can think of to allow for more than 1 Pokemon to make it past this fight. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. I'm going to breeze through the next few fights that don't prove to be as difficult. Misty is swept by Susan, though I did risk a potential crit on her from Water Pulse. Susan also sweeps through Surge. I then lose Newman the Wigglytuff to my rivals Gyarados in Lavender Town because I went into that fight underprepared, but that's okay. I do pick Porygon instead of Eevee this time and name them George. Because I have a better flying type than last time in Elaine, Erika isn't an issue. Back to Koga, and as I mentioned, he has never been an issue and this time I have George the Porygon to deal with him as well. In fact, I think just the raw footage for this battle is enough to show you just how amazing this battle is. Koga time. So the plan is to set up an agility here just so that we're faster. I don't think coughing should do that. Why would it self-destruct turn 1? I have to recover here. The Muk's gonna see the kill with Sludge. That does 32, so I need to recover again. It's gonna start minimizing now. I'm like... This is going to be so annoying, dude. That 3 shots or potentially 4 shots. I just need to hit them. Get a confusion, come on. Oh no. Don't poison. Good. No! Okay, I need to recover now to stay out of crit range. Recover has 20 PP? Insane. Okay. Good. Good. He's gonna heal now. I'm gonna Psybeam. Good. Alright. Good. Alright, he's gonna heal again. I'm gonna switch now. To Susan, I think. Oh no! Raticate can learn Shadow Ball. I'm gonna start screeching even if it misses. Alright, thank you buddy. Just hit 1 screech. Oh, okay. Whatever. I might wipe here. I think Kangaskhan can, yeah. I Cosmic Power, right? No, I just Psychic. Okay, I can Encore it. No! I had to lose that. Alright, George. Please just hit. Please hit. It's over. Stab. Of course you miss. It still doesn't kill, dude. Please just hit. Okay. There's still a coughing and a wheezing left. Okay. It's up to cheating. No! He's gonna self-destruct. I have to Swords Dance though. Alright. The only way Chuding manages to live is if he gets a crit here. Even then, I'm pretty sure I might wipe or stay with just one Pokemon. Get the crit. Get the crit. You didn't get the crit. Send out Ada first. This won't kill him. He's gonna heal. Oh, he didn't heal. Jesus, man. Why would he self-destruct turn 1? I'm not going to whine about bad luck because that was on me. I should have just led with Helen the Clefable like last time instead of trying to be cute, and she would have been able to take out Mark without him building up evasion. I will say that the self-destruct turn 1 is something I've never seen Koga do, so that did catch me by surprise. However, I've somehow made it past the massacre in Fuchsia, but with only my starter, Susan, alive to tell the tale. I still have to persist though, despite having very few Pokemon left. Anyway, time for Sabrina, but thankfully Susan can outspeed and one-shot her first 3 Pokemon with Shadow Balls and Strength. For Alakazam, I switched to Morty the Kangaskhan, who takes a Psychic well. A Fake Out does a little over 50%, and thankfully the second Psychic doesn't crit, and Morty takes Alakazam out for a deathless Sabrina. Frank the Ditto is my final encounter again. I'm pretty sure that I'm failing the run at this point, and even if there's no more deaths before the Elite Four, I will be going in with a team of only 5 Pokemon, so I'm not holding out much hope. However, unbeknownst to me, a savior was hiding in plain sight, ready to take the mantle of the team lead and face every trainer head-on. Mark the Lickitung, traded by his original trainer to me because they didn't see his true potential, will show just how good he is. His first mission is to take down Plane. I lead with Mark, who can tank a Fire Blast from Growlithe and use Rain Dance. After that, Mark tanks 4 more Fire Blasts, one of which was a crit, while using 4 Surfs to dispatch of Blaine's entire team. His job isn't done yet though, as he has to take on Giovanni's ground types now. He can use Rain Dance on turn 1, but a Scary Face means that every subsequent Pokemon will outspeed. However, Mark tanks every move used on it and takes out both Rhyhorns, Nidoqueen and King, and Dugtrio for a second gym swept in a row. For the final rival fight before the Elite Four, I have a significant level advantage again. Elaine leads to take out her mirror matchup, and Mark can take out Rhyhorn, Gyarados, Growlithe and Alakazam, and Elaine can come back in to 2-shot Venusaur with wing attacks. I'm sorry for all the mean things I've said about Lickitung in the past. Mark is amazing. For the Elite Four though, I need my Pokemon to be stronger, and because I'm not using Snorlax, I decide to EV train my Pokemon. It's necessary to do so, otherwise I'll basically have to risk a lot of crits to win, and I believe this is the optimal strategy if I want to become champion. It has all come down to this. After attempt 1 and 6 more failed attempts after that, I am back at the doorstep of the Elite Four with a moderately better team than last time. Mark the Lickitung, Morty the Kangaskhan, Jerry the Raticate, Elaine the Pidgeot, and Frank the Ditto. Mark leads against Lorelei to set up Substitute and Sunny Day, but Dewgong keeps getting rid of it to use Hail, which means Solar Beam don't hit in one turn, which is something I should have foreseen. However, the Substitute can tank an Ice Beam, so I take my time with Dewgong, letting it waste Hail PP, while not realizing that I'm doing the same with Sunny Day. I'm able to get off a couple of Solar Beams and eventually I get a lucky crit and Dewgong falls, with Mark having a Substitute up. Cloyster comes in and I know it will use Spikes, so I go for Solar Beam, but Lorelei outplays me by using Protect on the turn Solar Beam supposed to hit. But then she just goes for another Protect and it succeeds, so I can hit Solar Beam on the turn after for a lot of damage. She then goes for Dive, which does take out the weakened Substitute, but a Solar Beam takes out Cloyster. Next up is Slowbro, so I switch to Morty, who takes quite a lot from Surf. A Fake Out plus Shadow Ball crit takes Slowbro out. Not sure if the crit was needed there, but I'm not complaining. For Lapras, I get a lucky flinch with Rock Slide, then go for Shadow Ball to prevent Lapras from falling to the red, which would have caused Lorelei to heal. A return now takes her out, and last up is Jinx, but a return one-shots her for a deathless win. Next up is Bruno, and I'm quite scared of him again. Morty leads to Fake Out and then use Brick Break as Onix uses one Rock Tomb to lower Morty's speed. I'm hoping to get him to use Earthquake while being on low HP for a safe switch into a lane. However, Morty is still faster, so Onix goes for a Rock Tomb on the switch, which does a lot. I go back to Morty, then use Fake Out and let Onix use 2 Rock Tombs, then switch to a lane on an Earthquake. A Steel Wing thankfully connects and Onix falls. All of this was done because Steel Wing wasn't a one-shot and I didn't want a lane to be slower than the incoming fighting types. Aerial Ace one-shots Hitmonchan, and Fly won't one-shot Machamp, so I need to go for 2 Aerial Aces and hope that Machamp does not crit with Cross Chop. And Pidgeot gets a critical hit Aerial Ace to take Machamp out. A final one takes out Hitmonlee and Mark can come in to take out Onix for another Deathless Elite 4 member with a lot of luck. The ender of the previous best attempt, Agatha, is next. Morty leads to one-shot Gengar with Shadow Ball and do a lot to Golbat. I know that she will heal here, so I switch to Mark, then use Substitute and use a couple of Ice Beams to take Golbat out. Mark then takes the Intimidate from Arbok, which was what he needed to do. I stay in and use Surf for good damage, then switch to Morty, who doesn't get poisoned, thankfully, and then uses Fake Out and Return to take out Arbok. 2 Shadow Balls are enough to take out Gengar, and a final one ends Haunter to beat Agatha and give me my furthest attempt. Last of the Elite 4 is the mighty Lance, so I lead with the mighty Mark, who tanks a bite quite easily, sets up Substitute, then uses Thunderbolt after taking a Dragon Rage to take out Gyarados. Aerodactyl comes in and falls to 2 Surfs with Mark having a fresh Substitute up despite taking an Ancient Power and Hyper Beam. Dragonite goes for Hyper Beam too, and an Ice Beam just misses out on the one-shot, so I can Substitute again on the recharge turn. Lance heals and eventually Dragonite falls, but the Substitute is down. I now switch to Morty, who can Fake Out and Return to take out the Dragonair. A few more returns take out the second Dragonair and I've beaten the Elite 4, and all that's left now is to face the champion, Gary. I lead with Susan, who can one-shot Pidgeot with a Guts boosted Double Edge, then Alakazam with the Shadow Ball. For Rhydon, I switch to Mark, who has to tank 2 Earthquakes, but thankfully neither crits, so a Surf takes him out. Gyarados brings him to the red with Hydro Pump, but falls to a Thunderbolt. And with that, Mark has gotten his final kill. For the greater good of the team, Mark stays in as Arcanine extreme speeds and takes him out. A soldier has fallen, but one that will not be forgotten, and I will win this run to honor Mark's life and death. I send in Morty, who can Fake Out, then use 2 returns to take him out while taking a strong flamethrower in return. Venusaur comes in, and while Gary stalls with Synthesis and full restores, a few returns are enough to take Venusaur down, as I've beaten him to become the Pokemon champion and win the run. All in one 6-hour stream with Mark the freaking Lickitung and Susan the Raticate being the MVPs. To quote frequent Twitch chatter and FireRed monologue expert Potatoes_Lament, that was a wild ride from start to finish. What an incredible run with ups and downs I'll remember for a long time. Turns out you can beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon FireRed with normal types only and Snorlax banned. All you have to do is believe in yourself. I've now completed 4 out of 18 hardcore monologue attempts for Pokemon FireRed. Let me know which type you want me to try next in the comments. If you enjoyed that, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, see ya!